that way to have it?
We're going to do our own in-house thing, but y'all see it. We're going to invite everybody, so show up, come, But I think we're going to do our own deal, so we don't have to kind of be told what we got to do. And maybe we can shorten the game and all that stuff too. Don't have to have a bunch of commercials and all that stuff. So. But yeah, hopefully we have a great crowd and a great environment. And again, I'd like to incorporate some type of maybe fan day with it. Probably can't, maybe an hour, not long, but maybe make that a part of it. Be kind of cool as well.
Dabo, going into your 18th season here at Clemson, you've had a few years to learn how to do all this, but what excites you most about the start of a new season?
So, did you say my 18th? So it's be my 17th year full time. 17 and a half, I guess, since I was an interim. What excites me about a new season? Just a new challenge, a new journey. I mean, I love the process of it. I mean, I think to be consistently, good, you have to love the process of it. You have to learn love the grind. You can't just fall in love with a moment. You can't just fall in love with game day. You can't just fall in love with getting a result. Those things. I was talking to Ryan Day about that last week. We were all on a Nike trip together, a bunch of us, and that moment. It's a great moment. Those are great moments when you do certain things, but it's over the next day. So what you really have to love to really be consistently good, and you can't be great until you're consistently really good at something. For a long period of time, you've got to fall in love with practice, especially in our sport. Right? I mean, if everything goes perfect, we're going to play 16 days. So it's all the other stuff you got to love. You spend all the time practicing, preparing, meeting, training. That's what you have to love. That is what I love. I love the process of it. I love building a team. I love, learning. I love trying to get better. I love, putting it, because it's new for us every year. All right. I mean, because you just, kids move on, and I love all of that. I love the relationships, and so a new season is it's a new beginning, and it's exciting. And I think we got a chance to be a really good football team. We got a long way to go, a lot of work to do, but we've got a lot of guys back. We got 6 guys at the combine, and that's pretty much everybody that was eligible except for Aiden Swanson. He's the only one. I mean, so everybody's back. So we got a good football team, and these guys didn't quite get to the top of the mountain, but they got a chance to smell it. And they didn't get to eat the chocolate chip cookie, but they smelled it. They were in the kitchen. So it's good for them. That's good. You can't quantify that type of experience, and we've got a lot of that on this team. So it's exciting to come back to work with a bunch of guys that I think believe in who we are, what we do, how we do it, and there's really good leadership already. I think we've added some really cool pieces to this roster, and it's exciting to just put it together and see if I can build this team the way it needs to be. And our staff, same thing with staff.
What's a guy like Amare Adams? What has impressed you the most about him since
Ooh, man, he can freaking move. He's a high school kid. And that's the other thing about our game, different from the pros. Like when the pros and they do, OTAs and all that, like these guys have played football forever, right? Like they're pros because they've played forever, and if you don't know how to pull on the counter or run a slant versus inside leverage, well, you're not there. They bring somebody in that can. But our game is developmental. Like Amare, what peer has he had on Friday night? What peer has he had at practice? Like this is the first time in his life he's gonna meet Tristan Lee. He's gonna meet Harris Sewell. He's gonna meet some dudes. All right, every day in practice. What peer has Braden Jacobs had on Friday night? So this is the first time for the type of kids we get. It's the first time they've had a real peer in their life. And so there's a developmental piece of that and an adjustment that is very different for our level of football. for the type of kids that we get.
Just
Like,
on that.
like what guy has lined up on Friday night with TJ Moore and said, I got you, me and you all night? Like, nobody, right? But you get here and there's Ashton Hampton every day at practice in AV. So again, it goes back to what I was saying. You got to develop that. But man, Amare, he's big, he's freaky athletic, he's already a leader. And, again, I hadn't been on the field with him. He looks great in shorts. You don't play the game in shorts. I've not seen him with any scheme on top of him or anything like that. But just watching him in mat drills and watching him run, he looks a little bit like Brian Brzee as far as like that big-bodied, athletic type dude, kind of freaky, but with some power of a Dexter. But he's more polished than Brian was coming in here. Brian was just same thing. If you go back and watch Brian Brzee in high school, he just stood up and he'd throw whoever away and go make the tackle. All right, and so he had to learn. He had never really played his pads low, and I might say Mari's a little more advanced technically. But excited about him. It's going to be fun to watch him. What you have?
Yeah, I was just going to say, playing a lot of freshmen this time of year, is there something you're looking for? Like, can you tell early on if it's going to be a person that's ready for it this year, or that somebody that has to kind of take years?
Well, I don't know about take years, but a little bit of both. I mean, sometimes you see a kid that, like Tristan Lee, I'm like, he may never play. It's a 5-star recruit that came in here, and I'm like, holy cow, he may never play. Because at that point, I don't know if he's wired the right way to do what he's going to have to do. Because he was so weak, so out of shape. Again, you got to go back. I mean, he was, missed the COVID year, no football. He just was a mess. And you're like, wow, does he have a long way to go? Oh, and he's a 5-star recruit, right? So he's got these humongous expectations. Will he have self-awareness? Will he have the maturity? Because this is going to take a minute. All right? Well, I think he turned out okay. He's one of the best leaders we've had, one of the most self-aware kids I've ever coached. And he's, not only has he done everything he needs to, he's been above and beyond in everything. So sometimes you see that. And then other guys like Sammy Brown, like I said, I didn't notice him last spring. I never noticed him. Because he just didn't stand out. Because physically he stood out, but, you can't just be strong and big and run fast. Like, you got to be able to play the game. And to be able to play the game, you got to know what the heck you're doing. He had a lot to learn. I mean, you don't just show up here and, boom, take a pill or implant a chip, and you got it, right? And so there's a little bit of but I could see physically he was ready. But was he going to do what he needed to do mentally between spring and fall camp? That's on him. I can't predict that. And then you see Wesco, and you go 2 practices, and you go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He going to help us. So it's a little bit of both.
So does Tom Allen's nickel position differ with your personnel compared to how you use nickel?
No. It's no different. We've been a 4-2-5. We're a 4-3 base. We've always been that way, but most of the time we're some type of 4-2-5 just simply because of what you play against all the time. Like, if offenses start run I formation again, we'll be different. We're similar. I mean, we got to figure out, that's a position we got to figure out, that nickel position, and who's there. But it's critical, man. That's a position that's you got to be physical enough to hold up in the run game. You got to be smart enough and athletic enough and skilled enough to cover. You got to be able to blitz. Again, you're part of the run fits. You're part of the blitz scheme. You're part of coverage. There's a lot to that position. So when you get some unique guys, that's great. But you also sometimes you need that true corner guy that can be a true nickel corner for you. Based on who you're playing. So just depends on what our personnel looks like, but it's similar.
With that in mind, where do you see Shelton Lewis? Is he still?
He's a corner, but he'll start out at nickel, and he definitely can do it. But he had a rough year last year, as a sophomore, and it started in camp. He got hurt, missed all of camp. He busted his butt to try to get back for Georgia and wasn't able to really go. But he just kind of drug his leg all year, and I think mentally kind of got not in a good place, and kind of finished strong. I thought he finished better, but he's a guy and sometimes that happens, especially with young guys that play well as freshmen, and all of a sudden they think they're great because they were good as freshmen. Sometimes that's not good for a guy to have, and sometimes they have a lot of success because there's really no other option. But sometimes if they're not mature enough, it can set them up for, not having a great second year. I would say Antonio is a perfect example of that. And but Shelton he just it was a new position for him. He missed a lot of all of camp. He missed a lot of reps. And now you're into the live part of it, and it's a transition. So I think he's just in a much better place mentally. He's healthy for the first time really since last summer. So he's got to be able to get some work there. We got a whole little group of guys that we want to evaluate in that spot.
Similar situation, but other side of the ball. How's Tyler Brown doing?
He looks great. So, yeah, nobody really talks about him. Everybody kind of forgot about him, but he hadn't been healthy in a long time either, and obviously had a great freshman year. But so it's good to get him back going.
Dabo, I'm Tom Allen. We've seen some videos on social media. How have you seen the players sort of adjust to his personality and his coaching style so far?
Oh, it's been great. As I said, he's a leader of men, and it starts with leading the people in the room, and he's done a great job with the staff. I think that's resonated to the players. It's been really positive. So it's all good right now. We got a long way to go, a lot of work to do, but he's been awesome to this point.
Just to continue on the nickel one, who's the pool that you want to evaluate at the nickel?
Yeah, we want to, obviously Khalil is a guy that, Khalil's kind of we can put him wherever we need to make our defense the best. He's gifted like that, and that's going to really pay dividends for him as he goes through his future. Like if the best personnel puts him at strong safety or free or nickel, he can do that. He's really unique that way. So he's obviously always going to be a guy that depending on, because who's the best guy? Is it one of those safeties? Who are the best 11? And Khalil gives you flexibility on that, on answering that question, because we know he's one of the best 11. And but Shelton and Tink are a couple guys, and Khalil, are guys for sure that we want to take a look at there and see kind of how it goes, and then maybe a couple other guys that'll get in the mix. Noah Dixon is another a guy we want to take a look at.
Jane Haynes suffered his injury back in December. When do you, expect him to return to practicing with his rehab?
He'll be back in fall. He'll be back full go in the fall.
I guess you were talking about Olsen and Henry being out a little bit, Marcus Dixon flipping the defense. So is this a big spring for Christian Benker, who had tight end?
Big. Olsen coming off of surgery, so big spring for old Benny and Sapp. Sapp's a good player, and some great spring and a great opportunity for all those guys. And then we got Logan Brooking here, who's another big athlete, man. Tough physical kid. So we got a good group of guys.
What do you kind of want to see in spring practice?
I want to see Jack Smith do what we signed him to do. Launch that thing up there and turn it over and drop it out there about 45 yards. That'd be great. That's why we signed him. And, he's been kind of waiting in the wings and hadn't had a ton of opportunity yet, but we've seen a lot. So it starts with him. And then we've got, Robert Gunn is going to try to get in that punting battle as well. That's something he wants to try to do. We've got a kid named McCoon who's out there that's going to jump in there. And then Brody's also going to snap and punt. So we'll see what happens. That's why we went down to Saraland to sign Big Jack Smith. So it's his time.
With replacing Marcus Tate on the offensive line, is it a position battle open up for that position, or we reshift the line to figure out who would command the fifth spot on the offense?
I mean, we got plenty of versatility at that position, and we're going to create more. I think we've got 7 starters back. That not potential starters. I think we got 7 starters that have started for us that are back. So, ton of competition. Who those best, 7 starters back, and that doesn't, count the guys that we were able to play a little bit last year, guys we redshirted, plus all the guys that are already here that we signed. So, but we feel good about it. But yeah, whoever the best 5 are, whoever they are, there'll be competition everywhere.
Coach, what was your reaction when Cade announced that he was coming back, and what are you most looking forward to about working with him for another year now?
I didn't have a reaction because I knew he was coming back. So there was never any doubt that he was coming back. So there really was no reaction. I knew he was coming back.
On the subject of starters, though, Dabo, what does it say about where this program's at from a player retention aspect that you can bring back as many starters as you guys were able to do?
It just speaks to the culture here. We've had seismic changes in college football the last few years. Not like in the history of the game. And I think we've been top in the country, top couple in the country the last 2 years in retention. So, I think it kind of answers itself. It's not like we lock them in a room here and tell them they can't ever leave. These guys can leave anytime they want, But I think we're relationship driven, we're purpose driven, and the kids. And it also speaks to how we do things on the front end. It's there's a transaction, but it's not transactional here. It's just not. It's relationships, and we've created an environment where the kids can calculate a cost and a consequence of leaving. There's value in being here. There's value in the place. There's value in the people. And that's not easy to have. Again, that's why you see, all the stuff going on. And in the midst of all of this, and again, it's not that we're not affected, but we're probably like a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to what a lot of other people have dealt with. And that just speaks to the people in this building, the type of kids that are here, our process, our culture.
So Jeremiah Alexander, I think he's listed at 6'2", 250. Is he a true linebacker, or does he have edge versatility?
No, he's a true linebacker. He can come off the edge. But he's not a DN. There's a reason why he transitioned at Alabama. He's in high school, he'd get away with that. Blake Miller get his hands on him, throw him down on the ground quick. He's not long enough to be a true D end. He's a backer, but he's got edge potential in situational type stuff. But he's got to play backer if he's going to have aspirations of playing this game for a long time.
Coach,
what a great kid too, by the way. Amazing.
Coach, what are some of the milestones you're looking from Adam Randall as far as making that transition to running back?
Yeah, we were all blown away with how he did in a very short amount of time. Really blown away. But he's very mature, and if you say, well, what's the best thing he does? It's always been run with the ball. And if you go back and really study him, he played mostly quarterback and running back growing up, and then he wanted to become Julio and moved to wideout or whatever. But so it's something he's bought into, and I think he obviously knows the system and all that. But I think just taking it to another level this spring from a technique, fundamental, pass protection, blitz pickup, all that type of stuff. That's something he just needs a lot more reps at, and that's what we got to get done. But running with the ball, he's got natural vision. It's not a challenge for him. You saw that in the playoff game. So he's a very mature kid. He's a great leader, and kid loves Clemson. And I'm excited for him to get the opportunity to go prove that he could do it. And obviously, he knows the whole route tree. So he's not just a running back that you put out there and say run a hitch. Like you put him out there, he can run and execute the entire route tree at a high level. So if it goes the way we hope, he's going to be a problem.
How closely have you been following the off-season playoff conversations, and how will you feel if it works out that the ACC gets 2 automatic bids while the SEC, Big Ten get 4 each?
Hey man, whatever. We don't control. I don't focus on that much. Waste time. Focus on things I don't control. Whatever happens. All I know is ain't nobody been in the playoffs more than Clemson. 7 out of 10 years. So pretty good odds. 7 out of 10 years. I think we got the most playoff wins, or tied for the most playoff wins. So whatever system they want to come up with. I'm just worried about Clemson, and we keep doing our job. We'll be fine.
Got about 2 more minutes, Coach.
Random basketball question. Victor Locken, I heard you had a nickname for him. What is?
Yeah, man. First of all, how about our freaking basketball team? I mean, it has been awesome. I mean, it's been so cool to watch, and I mean, it's a great group of guys. I mean, we got, we got the hooping, Hunter Bros. We're led by the Zach Attack. We got the chef cooking it all up, right? And we got the Loch Ness Monster that nobody knows what to do with. Like, he's just like the Loch Ness Monster, and he just comes up and you don't know how to handle this guy. I love that guy. Man, that's like. So anyway, that's my nickname for old Locken. He's the Loch Ness Monster, and hopefully we're gonna have a lot of fun heading into the postseason. So that's my nickname for him. He's been fun to watch. The whole team, though. The whole team. I mean, it's just been awesome, man. Brad's done an amazing job, and the whole staff. It's been really cool. I've been watching basketball here a long time. When I first came in, I think Coach Shiat was finishing up, and to see what Brad's done has been awesome. And it's not easy to win. It's not easy to win. And in fact, I was with Rhett Lashley watching the SMU Clemson game on Saturday. We were on the Nike retreat, and so that was pretty cool. We won again, so that was great. Enjoyed that, and that was a great win. That was a great win. All wins are good. Some are great, and that was a great win at SMU, and a great win the other night versus Notre Dame.
All right.
The Loch Ness Monster. Loch Ness Monster.